Pushkin.
So I want to give you guys an opportunity to go really deep on the new album.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've been listening to it, and I just want to say up top that I think the songwriting on the album is really, really strong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was reading through the lyrics, and I feel like it's like reading a really great short story where
Thank you.
I know where the writer, like I know exactly what the writer is going through. And I feel like the production around it is so strong and it's really complementing the writing. And I think you guys have done a fantastic job on the album.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it's been so great. So let's talk about the first song on the album, Gone.
Yeah.
Do you see this sort of like when you were sequencing the album, do you see this as sort of setting the tone for the entire album?
Yeah, so when we started writing this song, it was actually towards the end of the album process. And I think, we as sisters were talking about like what's missing from the story, what's missing from a sonic perspective. And I think we were listening to a lot of the Beyonce Cowboy Carter album and just loving the way that she was mixing all of these samples and referencing things that I think she's always done. And it's something that we've always really loved in certain songs. And we've never done that. So the sample in question is a sample from George Michael's Freedom 90.
Freedom 90, yes. I was so
And-
excited when I figured that out. I was like, yes.
We are such huge fans of George Michael, have like always been. Faith has been a touchstone in the Haim sonic universe since the beginning. And so I remember feeling like, okay, I feel like we need a track one. We need to bring the listener in story-wise. And how do we do that? What's the kind of feeling that we kind of want this track one to evoke? And it was this kind of freedom, and it was I think when I went into the studio and first of all, we were at the point where Rostam was like, we have the album.
Yeah.
And we were like, keep going.
Every time we say we
We're
have
greedy.
the album, it means that there is one more song in you. I feel like anytime
Really?
that sentence is uttered in the studio, you have one more. You always have one more.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel exhausted by this process? Is it
Oh.
pulling teeth, getting the songs out, or do you have more than enough?
No, getting the songs out is, I think, the most fun part. I think finishing songs on our
Finishing is
end
tough.
is a bit tougher because we just really want to perfect the production, I think. But we've been a little bit more looser about that, I think.
Yeah. Less precious.
Less precious, yeah. Which
Yeah.
is great for us and for my mental.
Yes. And I feel like I'm jumping ahead, but I feel like the last third of the album, things sort of change.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something, do you think that's accurate? And is that something that was sort of, I also saw Rostam post about it and say track 11, 12, and 13 are different from anything you've ever heard from Haim.
If I have to look at the sequence.
I can tell you what they are.
Is it crying, spinning, and
Maybe Blood on the Street?
Blood on the Street?
It's try to feel my pain, spinning, and cry.
Yeah, try to feel my pain. Yeah, with specifically with cry and spinning, I think what he's explaining is that it's the first time on any Haim album that I'm singing lead on spinning, Este singing lead on cry, which we've never done before. And those songs actually came very the thing that's amazing about working with Rostam is it's he's like a cheerleader. He's up for anything. There's no bad ideas. And I think making spinning, it was a funny day where I was falling in love with somebody that I wasn't supposed to fall in love with. Now in hindsight, I'm why did I fall in love with this person? But it's that ooey gooey first 3 weeks of starting to text someone and starting to talk to somebody. And I was fully in this rabbit hole, falling down this rabbit hole. And we decided to write a song about it. The relationship did not last. Shockingly, did not last. But it was so fun. Just the fact that he was let's, and honestly, up until the last couple weeks of the album. Like I was like, I love this song. Does it fit on this album? And it felt like where it was in the sequencing, it kind of fit having Cry and
Yeah.
I'm very close. They're like little sisters too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's different stuff, trying new things. We still try new things in this band.
How do you guys feel about singing lead? Is that something that you wanted to happen before, or how did that come out?
Honestly, we'll see how it goes live. It's going to be great. No, it's a little, I mean, I honestly, sometimes I look at Danielle and I'm like, I don't know how you do this. Like
Especially playing the guitar at the same time. I was thinking the same thing.
Like Danielle can sing lead.
Yeah.
Danielle can sing lead, like on a unicycle at this point. Like
crazy.
Danielle is like, I look at her and I'm like, I do not know how you do this all the time.
Yes.
Because I'm in awe. My little sister, I'm a little sister that's in awe of big sisters. But it's definitely something new. It's a new feeling that I never was like striving for, but happy that it happened. But there was never a point where I was like, I want to sing lead. I'm like,
make room.
If anything, I was like, Rostam, I don't want to, like, Danielle will sound better on this song. And everybody collectively was like, no, it's good. But no, there was like never a point where I was like trying to sing lead. If anything, I love giving it to Danielle.
No, but also that's a testament to like Rostam. We were just trying new things in the studio, and he always is so open to that, which is really nice to have in a producer. And I love how Cry came out. I think it's such an important part on the album.
It's so
It was
good.
fun. It was fun to write too. And when you listen to the song and you listen to what the sentiment is, you wouldn't think it would be fun, but it was really
Is it fun because it's cathartic?
Yeah, it was fun because like I think I'd been holding in a lot of just this feeling of like being tired of crying so much about things that had happened to me, and then wanting to just kind of be done with the tears and to be moving on into something that, didn't make me cry tears of pain anymore and more tears of joy.
Totally.
Less oi, more joy.
Mhm.
No, so in the studio, it was, and I'm really lucky that Danielle and Alana can kind of tell when, I think we can all kind of tell when we come into the studio when something's up.
Yeah.
And I think that day in particular, I'd gotten a text message from an ex and I was feeling really, really emotional about it.
Mm.
And they knew, without me even saying anything, that something was wrong. And the second they said that, I immediately burst into tears because they can, without even like just a look, they know exactly what's going on. And so I think the lyrics just kind of fell out of all of us. I think that we've all kind of been there. And yeah, it's, to Alana's point, it's going to be interesting seeing it live.
I will see.
But I think for all of us, I think with the songs that we do, we kind of are transported whenever we're singing them. We're transported almost back to the place that we were when we wrote it. I think there's definitely been times, I think, when all of us have cried on stage at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes from, kind of reliving the place that we were when we wrote it, when we were experiencing it. And I think it's a blessing in some ways. It can be kind of fucking rough.
Yeah.
It doesn't deter us from wanting to play them live and wanting to tour, which is the good news. We we still love playing live.
I feel like that's a little bit rare. A lot of people I interview, it sounds like they kind of hate being on the road
I know,
because
we
it's
do
just
that
like
too.
uncomfortable and
I think it just goes back to
confusing.
when we started Haim officially in 2007. We genuinely, we've been playing instruments together since I was 4 years old. We've been playing live since I was a baby. But when Haim officially started in 2007, we always just considered ourselves a live band rather than a recording band because we genuinely didn't have the knowledge of, we would go into a studio, we'd like save up all of our money for a year, go to a studio.
Sounds
have-
really great in rehearsal.
So
Like,
we
great,
would,
this
we would
sounds great.
rehearse for months, years. Like literally, we would rehearse. We would make sure our parts were perfect. And we would go find a studio that we could afford, and we would have one day. And in our minds, we have 1 day to record 7 songs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
If somebody can do that, like amazing. We could not.
Yeah,
were
no,
not-
we didn't have the knowledge of, I mean, going into a studio and recording instruments. We
even
had
just like mic placement.
Yeah.
no idea.
Years.
You know, we didn't even know that we could reference, hey, to the engineer, hey, can we get this to sound like that? We just had no knowledge.
Or the engineer would be like, we'll do it in post.
Yeah,
like wait,
which
what?
and then it tells you that is
don't
not
worry, like,
true. You
No,
can't,
but
you can't do that.
From 2007, 2012, when we finally figured out kind of what our sound was, we would just play live like every weekend, whatever gig we could get in LA. We just played. And
Our goal in recording was just so we could play live.
yeah,
Because back in the day, you wouldn't be able to get booked on gigs unless, I mean, I'm aging myself, but you had to have a MySpace. And what venues would do is they would go on your MySpace, they would look at, your track, and if they liked it, they would book you. And like, we could not, I mean, to our credit, we always knew that if we didn't like something, we didn't want to put it out. Even back in the day, even to get a gig, we were like, if it's not good, we can't do this. So there's not many, I mean, there are some, please don't look, but there are some recordings that are out there, but really we thought that all we wanted to do was play. And even from our earliest gigs of like our first tours, like we were just so forever grateful to be out on the road because we would play like 4 people in LA. And once we started trying, I mean, my first tour, luckily Danielle was playing with Julian Casablancas at the time on his solo record. And he graciously gave us the opening slot for a couple of gigs. And I was in high school. I was 7.
So cool. Did people think you were super cool for doing that?
I mean, yes. Well, I thought I was cool finally for the first time. I think it was, I had looked at, I mean, obviously the Strokes is such a, pivotal band in our musical upbringing.
Yeah.
But going on tour at Fresh 18, I thought, this is it. This is going to be my life. Didn't happen quite as fast as I thought it was going to happen. But just that first tour, like that first like taste of like, we could play music together in other places.
in other cities.
In other cities, not
LA.
just like our valley haunts, was mind-blowing. And so every band that took us on tour, I mean, those few years of opening were the greatest years of, I think, our lives. Like, because we were just so forever grateful that a band would take us out on the road and would want us to play. And still to this day, I'm like, I love opening. It's great.
Yeah. It seems like
really
it'd be
weird
pressure
because-
filled though, because if somebody's there to see the big, like whoever's the headlining act, like, do you feel like you have to win them over, or do you guys just,
I mean, it's not
go
for the
out-
week.
yeah.
It's not for the week opening.
Yeah.
But you have to go in knowing I
We're
have
so
to win.
used to it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think we still go out on like our own shows when we're headlining, like with the same.
Open
Yeah, we
mentality.
still think
Opening
that like
mentality.
we still think people are gonna leave after our opener now. We're like, oh, are they actually here for us? But I think
We
that's
have, like,
a beautiful
Big opener mentality.
Yes.
I think we'll forever have big opener mentality because it's actually more fun that way. I mean, we did have always taken our live show extremely seriously, and because that's also where we have the most fun. So recording has now kind of like caught up with it. I think now we're more comfortable in the studio and we have a lot more fun in the studio, but there's nothing like showing up to a city. You like wake up and you're in a new place. You like have to get your bearings, have to figure out what you're going to do, and you play a show. It's like that first light drop still to this day. Like no matter where I am, what show, when the lights go off, it's the biggest high I'll ever have in my life. Great.
I know a lot of people struggle with like keeping that high going specifically.
Oh, we're good. We've been touring for over, what is it now?
Yeah.
12, almost
13
15 years. Like it
So
still
crazy.
doesn't end. If
Yeah.
it's because you keep on going to new venues. Like it's just exciting. Nothing is ever the same. No tour is ever the same.
Yeah. Do you guys hang out with each other when you're not like doing sound check, or what's the like off day situation?
I get in the car, and I leave off and go at.
You have 3
no, we're
individual
always-
buses.
We're
Yeah.
always, yeah.
Yeah, we're always together. We always
Not
get
getting rid of
together.
me.
Yeah, no, we're all.
Oh.
Well, because also it's like what I have the worst sense of direction. Like I have
I've heard you talk about that. So
joke.
funny.
Like it's a Haim joke. Like every time I'm like, you guys, we gotta go right. It's left. Like so like me alone in the
You
city.
need us.
Even with like
She
a
needs-
phone and a map, like I will just wind up somewhere not like in a different state. Like they'll be like, how did you get there? So I'm happy to be with them all the
Yes.
time.
I'm sorry I laughed earlier when you said your relationship didn't work out, the one that you were
Please, you
writing.
can laugh. Honestly, every relationship that I've had has been a laugh. So you can please feel free to laugh at anything.
Yeah, I didn't mean to laugh at you. I was just laughing because it reminded me of the line in the song Relationships where, what is it? Fucking relationships, don't they all end up the same? Or they don't, what is it?
Don't
Don't they end up all the same?
Don't they end up
No
all
one
the
left
same?
to blame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it just reminded me of that, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah.
That came from the depths of our soul.
Yeah.
So tell me about that song. That's the first single, right?
First single.
First single, yeah.
It is actually the oldest song on the album.
Oh, okay. Is this the one that started in 2017?
Yeah, it started
Okay.
in 2018. I wrote it. I started to write it on my phone on an airplane. We were going to Australia, and I just opened up my GarageBand on my phone, which I've not written like whole songs, but definitely started ideas on. I love GarageBand. It's what, like, superstitiously, I still write on GarageBand because that's what we started writing on in like 2010.
10. Right when we got your first.
When I got my
Computer.
first
Mac, yeah.
but having GarageBand like truly blew my mind. And so I
But
have it on-
GarageBand on your phone
is great.
Is even crazier.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great. It's really awesome. And anyway, so I started, this melody kind of came to me, fucking relationships. And I was like, wait, that's good. It's a good melody and it's a good lyric. And that that kind of rarely happens, I feel, when you get the lyric and the melody at the same time. It's kind of like, it feels like God is.
Yeah, the
kind of
muse,
something-
the muse has come
muse,
in.
yeah.
Otherworldly.
Yeah.
Which
And
is harder for you guys, melody or lyrics?
I wouldn't say like harder. I think melody maybe comes a little quicker.
Really?
Actually, a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think so too.
Wow, that's
Lyrics
amazing.
are a little bit more labored over, and but yeah, melody is pretty quick.
How do you know you're not just singing something that's already out there that you've heard?
Oh, we've done that before.
Yeah, the best.
Like you're like, oh, that's time after
Huge
time.
response.
Like,
if I sing something, she'll be like, no, that's this other song. Like
Yeah.
she knows her music
that's
knowledge.
good.
It's
That's good
Name
that you have
That
that.
Tune. I think Name That Tune. And I want Este to go on Name That Tune because
Yeah. There's a
did it
Shazam, like Shazam
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Shazam.
Shazam. But I don't think it's around anymore.
Shazam every day. If you ever have that, like, what is that song? You can literally hum it to Este.
Yeah, and she's like,
And
oh,
they'll be like,
no.
it's insane. Honestly, we've tested it.
I'm a woman of many talents. That
I
is
feel like that's very valuable.
most proud of.
So valuable.
Most proud of.
So
yeah.
valuable.
Artist, song title, sometimes album title.
I don't have that. I can't. It's
Yeah.
a skill that I have acquired.
But that doesn't stop us from, I do it too. There was a whole period of time where everything I wrote sounded like Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park theme.
Whoa.
A long
Long time
Jurassic
ago.
Park.
Yeah.
Had you just seen it?
Jurassic
Big
Park.
John Williams fan.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Big
we
John
love John
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah. Wow. Very
But yeah,
cool.
I think melody is, I think they're both important.
It's
but-
also just
yeah.
fun when you're in the studio and you're passing around a mic. Like it's very much like a group effort melody wise, like just throwing things.
Yeah.
spaghetti at the
We
wall.
actually start a lot of our songs from drum patterns or you know, that's actually a big Haim thing. We're all drummers first. Our dad is a drummer and taught us drums. We had 2 drum sets set up in our living room growing up. And yeah, it was incredible. And he really imparted his like drum percussion wisdom on us.
That's what I was going to say.
Did the neighbors ever complain? I feel like
No, we were lucky. They liked it.
Yeah, they liked it, which was
Well,
really fun.
we had one like a xylophone player on one side, like a I think wasn't he in like the
Classically
Philharmonic?
trained.
Yeah, classically trained.
He liked it.
He was like,
oh,
and then on the other side, it was
He was deaf.
he was deaf.
Yeah.
We had a deaf neighbor.
So never like
Never got
never
it's perfect for you guys.
I know.
We
It
really
worked
lucked out
out.
on that one.
It
We
really
lucked out.
worked out.
Especially because there was a point, you know, my dad loves collecting instruments. There was a point where it was like 2 drum sets, timbales,
A lot.
and, like,
Congas.
congas, cowbells. So like we would all just be jamming.
Yeah.
Drum.
My
jam.
dad was obsessed with The Recycler, which was Craigslist before Craigslist. It was like
It was like a little magazine every week.
and my
okay.
this is obviously before, you know, the internet, so people didn't know what they had. So like my dad would get things at like crazy,
Yeah,
like
he
$10,
collect-
$15, like collecting as many things that he could get. Yeah, my dad was like an original Craigslist hunter. Now
That's so fun.
it's not. Now people know what they have. They can like
Yeah.
search how much things are.
Yeah.
But my
He
dad
got like a
would-
really great early 60s Ludwig set. And
because a church was selling all of
Yeah.
their in Barstow. My dad drove to Barstow and cleaned out this lovely church that was selling
Yeah.
all of their instruments,
gear, and
their gear.
he ended up getting a great DW set that he still plays. That's really cool. But yeah.
Oh, so he still plays?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he just played. We just went to
Jazz
Lowen's
Fest.
Jazz Fest.
Oh yeah, I saw your mom on stage with you guys.
yeah, he
Yeah.
played drums.
That was
He
our
played
dad on the drums.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't realize that. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
Rockenhaim. Before Haim, there was Rockenhaim, and that was with my parents.
That's so great. When you were kids and you were in the band, were you aware that your family was sort of different than like your friends' families and that
I remember the moment that it happened. I mean, at least I remember the moment I realized that we weren't normal. When I grew up thinking that every family had a family band. Because why would I think anything different?
right.
And then I remember a friend of mine was like, Essie, do you want to go to the Fashion Square this weekend? And I was like, well, I have rehearsal. Like, don't you have rehearsal on Saturday? And my friends were like, rehearsal for what? And I was like, with your band. And they were like, no, what? And then I just remember coming home and crying to my parents, like, we're weird. We're
Yeah.
so weird. We are so weird,
But I think
mom and dad.
the thing that was like amazing about Rockenhaim, so like my parents growing up, I mean, again, we're from Los Angeles, so all we do is listen to the radio and
In the car.
in the
when we're
car
driving.
when you're driving. And there's this one specific station called K Earth 101 that would play. At that point, it was 50s, 60s.
Oh.
And then only 70s like disco Saturday night.
Yeah,
only
disco Saturday night was
on
just like
Saturday.
Some
we
Bee
just in a
Gees.
disco
Just some Bee
Saturday
Gees.
and do the dishes together. But the thing that was so cool is that like what we would do is we would go home, we would put on K Earth 101, we would record songs to tape. And then my mom, like our earliest moments of like learning music is my mom would figure out the
Like
chords
plucking
for us.
them out.
Oh
And
wow.
she would teach us how to play it, and then we would listen to it. I mean, like I want to say like 75,000 times, and we would write the lyrics down.
So there were wrong lyrics.
Wrong, like terrible, like it
All
was
over the place.
misheard lyrics all over the place. Because also this is before we had internet,
Yeah.
and that's how we would learn songs. So like in learning in that, we would like realize that a lot of these songs are like 1-4-5, so like very easy, you know, just open chords. That it was, you know, that's how we actually learned how to songwrite, is like from our childhood of listening to things and learning things by ear.
Oh yeah.
But just that process of like hearing a song on the radio and then being able to play it myself was such an empowering feeling. It was so cool. So like, even though yes, we thought we were weird, it in the long run was extremely beautiful and amazing.
Yeah. What was the aspiration for the family band?
There was no aspiration.
There was zero aspiration.
Like, was it serious? Like, was it like Tiger Mom style?
No, we were serious in practicing. I mean, my parents were they would always tell us, like, if you want to do this, you have to practice. There is no ands or buts.
Well, also they were very, the whole point was to play for charity.
Charity.
So we would probably book, I think it was 4 gigs a year.
Yeah.
For different charities, and then we would go and perform. But it was very much like, all right, we're going to book these, but if we're going to book them, you're going to practice.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then
some families go camping.
Yeah,
we play music.
But
again, like my parents always like, hey, when I say this, but like early days Haim, when I was like very young, like we were not great. Like it's not like we were like killing it, pyro, like we were still. So like, just as like a widespread and also blanket thank you to anyone that ever saw us play. Like it was, it was not. We got better.
It was cute.
It was cute.
It's probably adorable.
It was so cute.
And it's also funny. Like my parents never have written. They're not songwriters. They've never written a song before, but they were, once we kind of were like, maybe we should write our own. They're very supportive, but it's not like they even knew
we
how to, we just played straight covers,
and being in a cover band rules. Let me tell you.
It was fun.
It was fun. So fun. But there was no like, let's write a song together. My parents had no, they didn't know.
And then they were like, you're going to college. They're like, get good grades, you're going to college.
For me and Danielle, they're like, you're getting a job, because me and Danielle couldn't get into college. So Este's a smart one.
I got it. And
did you graduate?
I did.
You did? That's so great. Yeah. Older sister doing it. How does your birth position, like, I don't know if you guys seen like studies on like the oldest child usually has these traits or does these things, middle child, the youngest child. Yeah.
It's hilarious that you've brought this up, because I recently have just been so obsessed with birth order, but I bought this book called like the birth order book.
Wait, tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the funniest thing, I mean, it's like the same tropes, like the oldest, like the parents focus mostly on it because you're the first child.
But they're like the hyperachiever. Like
hyperachiever, which honestly checks out, went to college, there you go.
And the leader.
For the youngest, it's like they're the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're the ones that are like trying, they're like the most rambunctious. The thing that's the funniest about the middle child.
I'm scared.
No, but you shouldn't be scared, because it's honestly hilarious. But like there's 2 things that I thought were so funny. Like when I got to the chapter for middle child, they were like, there's not like to their stereotype, there's not much about the middle child that we know. No one has really wanted to study a middle child. But the thing that I found so interesting that Danielle really, I mean, it changed our lives that she did this, but they said that the middle child, the first thing they want to do is leave. They want to leave. They want to find their people out in the world. Like I feel like oldest and youngest, they stay. Yeah. And notoriously middle children leave. And that's very true to Danielle. Like when she was 19, immediately went on tour, started becoming a touring musician for other bands. And it was kind of like this thing where she came home and had all this, I'm speaking for you, I'm sorry. But she came home and had all this knowledge of just touring. Like we thought that touring was out of our reach. Like we always wanted to be touring musicians, but like, it's like, how do you do that? We didn't know. And Danielle kind of fell into this group that was touring. And
I was really lucky.
She was really lucky and would come home and be like, this is what this is. And like, there's
something called an agent.
Like, this is and she just came back, and it was without her being the middle child and leaving, we would not be here today.
The explorer. That's so cool. So what kind of questions did you ask her when she came home? Like, did you feel like she had changed at all?
I mean, if anything, it was just she saw the world. I mean, Danielle would come when she went
like
to
London.
Japan.
I went to Japan.
Wow. I went to Japan, and we're like, oh my God, what is Japan like? It was so exciting. Like she went to London for the first time.
London was huge because, we were also we were in high school from basically 2000.
Well, I started high school in
2000, and then Alana graduated in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So basically that era of music for us was
like our soundtrack. And a lot of it came out of the UK. Or if it wasn't from being made by UK artists, it was bands and artists that were embraced first in the UK. And then, American artists that were embraced first in the UK, like the White Stripes, which
I can't believe it, but that ended up being our trajectory, which like, honestly, when it was happening, we were just so in disbelief because we knew that that was like a trend, you know, Kings of Leon too, I think, like a trend that the UK kind of is so, you know, forward thinking and
Yeah.
so
Right,
many
these
and embrace
American
these
rock
American
bands.
rock bands.
Mhm.
So yeah, when I went with Julian Casablancas to like London for the first time, and I had read up all about like, you know, they signed a rough trade. Like there was just so much lore about the UK and the music scene and NME magazine, you know, like all
Oh,
these,
yeah.
so like, you know, going there for the first time, I think it was in 2009 with him. I like did all the things. I also like went to Topshop. I got them so many
Came back with like a
presents.
present from Top
You
Shop.
know, I
was like,
Topshop was the
spent
shit.
hands on like
Huge.
clothes. You know, we were just
she
such-
took the tube.
I
Yeah.
couldn't-
The tube.
and I was like, yeah, like 1920. And I was just like so happy and could not believe my luck that I was doing what I always dreamed of doing. Like, just like that when I would come home and I'd be like, oh my God, you'll never guess who was like backstage at like a festival. Like,
Yeah,
it was
festival.
just my
Who were you meeting?
Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Who was I meeting? It was like a lot of like, I think the Kings of Leon were backstage at some of our shows. You know, I would just say like hi, and then I would like, but like so starstruck. And
Yeah.
Y'all going to Glastonbury what for like before, I mean, way before we had even gone as Haim was like the biggest
Yeah,
deal.
crazy.
We were like, what
Yeah.
is it like? Like it was very much like Waterworld. It's like, I found land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found land.
Really.
It's there. And she would come home. And I think that was like a huge turning point for us as a band because Danielle came back and she was like, I think we can do this. And that was like the
Wow.
first we had actually, we had always wanted Haim to be a serious thing, obviously, but we needed her to come home.
I just learned so much.
with her
And also
knowledge.
and I also toured with Jenny Lewis before the Julian Casablancas band. And I just learned just so much about artistry and focusing on every aspect and just like truly, you know, Julian was so hyper focused on his vision. And I just didn't know that that's what it took to be an artist. And I learned so much from him. Like he was very focused on certain things and wasn't
especially
gonna let up.
the strokes were seemed so effortless. Like it seemed
Yeah.
like
They
they were
do. Yeah.
It seemed like it was like, oh yeah, they just like waltzed into the studio like drunk at 3 a.m. and
Mhm.
plugged in their
plugged in
guitar.
and recorded Is This It? And then
Yeah.
you know, started to understand it took them years to perfect their sound.
Oh.
By talking to Julian, I was like, oh, that's why we can't get our shit right in the studio.
Yeah.
Like we have no fucking idea. But yeah, we would not be sitting here without those experiences. And I'm so
Again,
thankful
touring.
to Jenny and to Julian.
Yeah, touring. Yeah, I love that you talk about the hard work because it seems effortless with you guys too. And you always seem like you're having so much fun and you make
That
it
part.
seem
Real.
That's-
I mean, that is true. We are
Good,
having
good.
the best time.
yeah, but it seems easy too at the same time. But I know there's so much hard work behind the scenes and so much vision, and you've been doing it for so long.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, here.
Yeah.
I know it is why. I mean, just having our 10-year anniversary for Days Are Gone was very wild experience because it still feels like that album happened yesterday.
Yeah, and
yet
I think
it's still-
we feel like there's so much more to come too, and we're
Yes.
very, you know, we are very ready to keep working hard and to keep.
yeah, this still feels like even on
Yeah.
our fourth album, it still feels like the beginning.
Yeah, we're
it's
like
still-
Opener mentality.
yeah.
Yeah. Opener
No.
mentality.
Cannot get rid of, cannot shake it.
Yeah. When you were talking about your parents and back when you were in the family band, just thinking about the album and all the talk about relationships and being single or experiences in relationships, I was curious how the mythology of your parents' relationship, like how that has affected you all individually, like maybe
I mean,
not necess-
it is a lot of, honestly, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, you also have to like think about the time that my parents got together. My parents are still together. They love each other so much. Like, it's honestly the sweetest thing. Like, even when we're on tour and like my mom stays home to work and my dad sometimes visits us on tour. he'll be like, I need to call my wife. I'm like, Dad, that's
Oh.
the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's really
But
sweet.
How is that for you? Like, is that
I
even more
mean,
pressure?
now as a 33-year-old trying to find my perfect human, because my parents, look, they're perfect for each other. That's
Yes.
the thing that's so beautiful about it is like, look, we're all flawed, we're all human, but like they had found their missing puzzle piece and they found it. And in crazy circumstances, I mean, they were put together by friends. It ended up being, it's like
Blind
the
date.
dream scenario of like, I have a guy for you. The amount of times a friend has said, I have a guy for you. Let me tell
I
you,
know.
not finding my missing puzzle piece here.
And your hopes get up every time. It's like, oh, like a
But
little.
I mean, it goes back to a lyric in relationships where it's, is it just the shit our parents did? Like the
Yeah.
thing, like my parents, again, it's like you grow up seeing these puzzle pieces fall in love, and then you are now in the age of, okay, now it's time for me to find my missing puzzle piece, and it's not easy. But
And it's also like beautiful to like they worked their butts off when we were kids to provide for us too. And so it's also just like, it's really
they have just as much fun at Haim concerts as we do. I mean, the thing is like I'm so extremely grateful that we had parents that were supportive. But it is finding your missing puzzle piece in this life is hard. We learned that we thought it was easy. We're like, oh, we grew up. You find your person. No, it's hard, and it takes a lot of work, which we also realize as well. But
And I think
fucking relationships, man.
when breakups happen, to your point, I think sometimes you wonder, like, why do I do this? Like, why? I know it worked for mom and dad, but like at the same time, why do we put ourselves through this shit? And I think that's also kind of, the sentiment and how we were feeling when we were making relationships was like, yes, it can be a magical, beautiful thing, but also like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Not easy. But it's a lot to live up to with our mom and dad because they're really
just so gosh darn cute.
Well, they just ride for each other,
They do.
They really ride for each other. And that's, it's really a beautiful thing to see. And God willing.
Oh my God, they're going to listen to this.
God
willing. They're going to be like,
Did they listen to your interview? Like all your.
listen to everything.
Really?
They find I don't know how, I'm like, I didn't even know they knew how to use a computer. I literally it's news, but
Oh,
well, I think they're just,
hi mom and dad.
Hi, Mom.
they're so supportive.
I just think that, I think that they're honestly just really stoked that like all three of us are doing something together.
Yeah, I think there was a time when Danielle went on tour and they were like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like what's going to happen to
Bye, child.
Yeah, like what's
She's not coming back. She's not coming back.
And what does this mean for Este and Alana?
Yeah, what are they going to do?
What are they gonna
need
do?
help. They need her. They need her. So I think it's nice. I think they also always know where we are at any point.
Yeah, and that we're gonna take care of each other, and that we look out for each other.
It's so sweet. That is so, so sweet. When you guys put out a new album or when you record a new album, how deep do they get into listening to it? Like, are they analyzing all the lyrics?
It's so funny. Like they saw our show the other week and we were playing like new songs and they're
The
like,
Bellwether.
that song, I've never heard it.
Yeah.
We don't show.
No, we
We
don't.
should send them the album though.
They can get it
I
the
mean,
day
they
that
can
it
get it. Yeah, they don't need to hear it.
I also just what I need to I don't want to explain some of the songs to them. It gets
Yeah, it's kind of
I don't need.
a little racy.
listen to it when it
The song Take Me Back. So on that song, you're reminiscing about old friends, past lovers, past experiences in life. I'm curious for each of you, what's the time in your life that you reminisce about most?
high school.
I think it is high school. And that was like something that really was happening during COVID. At least for me, I was like really like reflective about my high school experience.
Well, also I think it's because it's the first time that I think we were becoming adults. And when Este was a senior, Danielle was a freshman. And when Danielle was a senior, I was a freshman.
Oh.
And we all went to school together at one point. And it was like when Este was a senior and Danielle was a freshman, that was right when, we were introduced to the East Side, the Echo, the Smell, like all these
venues
in
East Los Angeles.
and luckily my parents, I mean, it's a terrible rule. They should have never let us do this. But if we were together, we didn't have a curfew. But if we were
Wow.
we had a curfew.
Well, they also
So-
knew that I would keep you in line.
And
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
also like an incredible like sister, like older sister. Would
I was
honestly
very,
would never let
very
it was almost
protective.
annoying. Would never let us get in trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
again, the littlest child. All I want to do is get into trouble. Esty didn't let me do anything.
It was
But-
there was like a couple, like those years were super formative for us.
Esty got her first car.
Yeah,
Her
and-
95 Honda Passport.
Yeah.
And
We went to a public all arts high school
Oh, nice.
called LACSA, LA County High School for the Arts, and it was just such an amazing place to learn
But then upon reflection, I think when we were writing the song, we were like, wait, did that happen?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we were like,
Yeah.
holy
there
shit.
weren't a lot of rules at
Yeah.
at our high school. It was on a college campus, and kids from all over LA, if you got in, you know,
You got free art
got-
education.
yeah. So it was
Amazing.
really incredible, and met our best friends there, but also simultaneously like a lot of crazy shit
Shit ensued.
happened.
Arts
All-
kids without rules.
a lot of the names in that song are changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious about
Molly's
that.
name is not Molly. There is that did actually happen.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Molly in quotations took a shit in the back of a truck. That actually happened. There was an infant
Oh,
girl at our school. She took a shit in the back of the truck. You know what?
wow.
What are you going to do?
But it was that day in the studio specifically, I think was so funny because it was us at Rostam studio and our friend Tobias Josso Jr. was also in the studio. He comes in sometimes just to like, see what's going on. And since he grew up in Canada, I think we were both reminiscing like, what was going on in Canada? And he's like, well, what was going on in LA? And we were just spewing these crazy stories. And we were like, how do we fit this into a song? And I think we achieved it. I mean, that's one of my favorite album. And it
Me
really,
too.
that song in particular, it was really like a healing an inner child moment, I think, for us. And especially the end of that song is very special. Just naming all the streets that we used to drive down, smoking cigarettes in Este's car and trying to make sure that our parents can't smell it.
Yeah, wearing
Not easy.
Yeah,
Gloves
wearing
and a
gloves and a
beanie.
beanie.
gloves and a beanie and a lot of Victoria's Secret spray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
body
Oh, God.
Right.
like for sure our parents knew. We like all walked in smelling like Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
easy. Or Bath and Body Works. There we
Bath
go.
and Body Works,
Uh,
right.
But
That was
yeah,
sick.
it was such a nostalgic time. But it was honestly the time where I think all three of us as sisters, like finally were in that sweet spot zone where like we went from being like children to like, oh, now we're like, we can hang out. And
Yeah.
is Alana gonna be cool if
Yeah.
we bring her around? Yeah.
Were you guys cool? Were you guys cool? Were you guys
I
popular?
had braces.
I mean-
Danielle got me my first fake ID, but the problem was I had braces. So like, sorry. And I also, now looking back,
Cover 'em up.
looked like a baby. Like my ID, they had found this ID on the floor and it said that I was like 28 when I was like 14. Like there was
I
a
remember trying to
way-
like memorize the name and the address.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Esty would be like, shut your mouth.
Don't open your
Don't
mouth.
open your mouth. You have braces.
Don't let them
like
see your
you're not
braces.
going to get in. And I mean, it worked. There were some very nice bouncers that let me in. I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
For the second that I turned 21, like the amount.
You,
like,
Alana had her like
I had my 19th birthday
at a bar. Yeah.
And honestly, the only people that showed up were my siblings. I don't know what I was thinking. Like because no
our
one else had
friends.
fake IDs. So it was a little bit like my 19th birthday was at a bar.
Still cool.
It was very cool. But it was nice to reminisce about those times.
Yes. Okay, I have to ask you before we have to go. I have to ask you about two more. I want to ask about Farm. I love Farm so much. How did that come about?
That
And
was
it feels so real. Is it real? Is it a true story? Okay.
That song specifically on the album was a song that was happening in real time. We wrote it as things were happening actually in real time. Danielle had moved in with me, and I think you can kind of feel how current it was while we were writing it. Like it was very much like a song that was for that moment. And I think that song is a very important part of the album, just in the sense of like, yes, like our whole ethos of this album is we were all single making the album. We were all having a good time individually and also together. And it was this fun, like going out, meeting people. And I think The Farm is that moment of the album where you're human.
And reflective.
And you are reflecting on things and you're alone in the house and you're realizing, you know, that moment of all these emotions rushing over you. And I feel like thank you for bringing up The Farm. It was that one was a very emotional song just in general to record.
I love it. So good. Where are you all at now? Do you feel like you've moved on and you're in a different place, or is everyone still in the same place where you're like, fuck everything, I quit? You know, like, are you, is it that same energy?
I quit is not a fuck
Where are we at?
energy.
Yeah.
I quit is a like reclaiming your power energy.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We are not looking at I quit as like a negative thing. I think honestly, naming
Yes.
the album was super.
Yeah. That's why I have a big smile on my face. I'm like,
Yeah. I quit. I'm happy about it. No, it was like this realization that quitting is actually not a negative thing. You're betting on yourself, and it was the beginning that you're starting. So I quit is for everyone that's trying to, you know, get their power and having an uninhibited summer and going out and raging. But yeah, it's really funny. The other day I like picked up Women in Music Part 3, and this is how I know that like I've moved into a new chapter, is that like I was like, oh, I picked it up and I was like, this isn't where I am anymore.
Yeah.
And then I quit is like we're in this I quit era. And I mean, I love all of our albums. There is not one album. That's another thing that I will say that is very comforting just for me just to like put a blanket of like how controlling me and my siblings are. Like there is not one song on any of our albums that we didn't love. And it's so nice to pick up your albums and feel like they're completely you, and no one had any sort of like, you should do this song or you should put this on your album. Like we were extremely, very much everything had to feel right. And it's nice because I'm sure there are probably some moments for other people where they're like, I wish I didn't put that song on this album. Like that is not a sentiment that we have on albums. So it's very exciting. This new album, this new era feels exactly where I want to be, which is really nice. Like now we can kind of put our album brains to rest, and our touring brains have now woken up and dealing with, you know, what is our stage going to look like? What's road? Like that's the fun Haim is now coming back, because
nice.
Touring Haim gets a little crazy. You know, we get touring Haim, we're out, we're doing it. It's happening. So we're really excited.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Going so deep into the
so
album.
much.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out Broken Record on YouTube. If you want to listen to us on the go, be sure to subscribe to Broken Record wherever you listen to podcasts.